Okay. All right. So
Yeah, so I read the judgments.
okay.
Yeah, and I was shocked with the facts. I came across some discoveries, new discoveries that I didn't know, that I'm sure a lot of people do not know as well.
Yeah. What are the key highlights?
Um, One of the key highlights is concerning the the ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Concerning the ownership, uh, here I've been made to believe that the government owns, or the government owned. Yet in actual fact, the owners or the shareholders are actually English companies in SMMH and TH what
THZ.
and TAZ. Yes, I wasn't aware of that. I used to think that you were the sole shareholder. I don't know why I had that impression. Maybe it's because of the persecution that was that was being targeted towards you. It was as if you were the sole shareholder, and the government just came in prejudice to prejudice your interest. But I'm getting to understand something new now concerning the ownership.
So to you, what was the ownership structure?
Um, the ownership structure was like this. SMMH and THAZ were the owners, though T and N, through T and N. The relationship between SMMZ and T and N is the one that I didn't understand much from the judgment, but um, from my own understanding, T and N was holding for SMMH and THZ.
No, the owner of SMM was SMMH.
The owner of SMM Zimbabwe, right,
Yeah.
was SMMH, yes.
And the owner of SMMH was Africa Construction Limited, which in turn was owned by Africa Resources Limited,
Really?
and in turn owned by me. But TNN had security over the shares held by Africa Construction Limited. It's like a
Okay.
mortgage.
May you come again on that one, Mr. Mawere? What was the relationship between Africa Construction Limited and ARC, ARA rather?
100% of the shares of Africa Construction Limited were owned by Africa Resources Limited.
Okay.
Yeah.
And SMMH.
Was then owned by Africa Construction Limited.
Okay.
But the shares held by Africa Construction Limited were then pledged as security by the company to TNN. So TNA, so the 100% of the shares were held by Africa Construction and then pledged to TNN.
This is helpful, Mr. Mawere. I wish I could get something in written form where you explain that information. You know, when we sit for our bar exams, Kanban law is one of the most difficult courses.
Yeah, but if you look at the judgment, that is what was there. What happened is that AMG, which was a nominee for the government of Zimbabwe, bought the right title and interest of TNN in the shares. So they wanted to rectify the share register so that AMG would then be the holder of shares in SMMH.
Okay.
Yeah.
It seems like TNN was either it was reluctant or it was cooperating with AMG. From the set of things.
Yeah, because they were told that the shareholder had run away from Zimbabwe and was unlikely to pay, and the company owed money to the government of Zimbabwe. So that was the spin they were told. In Zimbabwe, they were saying the company is indebted to the government. In the UK, they were saying AMG wants to buy the company. So they introduced AMG, and the AMG was treated as a separate company from government. For the purpose of acquiring the shares. So when they took over the company, they knew it's like you owe money to the bank for a car or a property. Then they go to the bank and say, we already have possession of the car.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, because I was asking myself, T&N, why did they cooperate on such a transaction?
No, it was under administration.
Oh yes. When Mr. Gwaradzimba was appointed,
that's right.
And Mr. Gwaradzimba happened to be the administrator of AEMG again.
No, you happen to be the administrator of SMM.
I mean the managing director of.
And AMG stands for Afaras Mtausi Gwaradzimba.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are his initials.
This was tricky, and I also got to understand that they laid some accusations against you. They wanted to prosecute you, and there was even an attempt to push the South African government to extradite you.
That's right.
What were the charges?
Externalization that as a shareholder, I had caused money not to be remitted to Zimbabwe, and therefore it was a criminal offense, not in South Africa, but in Zimbabwe. So the question is, how do you externalize money when you are already external? Why would you extradite a person? If the money came to Zimbabwe and was shipped out, then it would be a crime in Zimbabwe.
You were already residing in South Africa.
Otherwise, you won't extradite somebody who is not there. But it was to create this criminal allegation, so that when you go to the UK, you are saying, we are looking for this man and we want our money back. So he owes the government money. So the agreement you have with him is already null and void. So they had to create that criminal leg.
Okay. Is it rumor or fact that they managed to get some money from your South African accounts? That the government managed to get some money from your South African accounts?
How would they get that money if the government of Zimbabwe they would need a court order in South Africa.
Okay.
So if that happened, you will have a copy of that court order. And what will be the claim? Because the government was never the exporter. The money did not belong to the government. It belongs to the company.
Okay.
So they had to criminalize it so that it is the state now. And then create the impression that the company was indebted to the government.
Yeah, of which the judgment dispels everything to anything to that effect.
Yeah, but all they wanted was to create that bridge so that they can say the government has an interest in the company.
And Mr. Mawara, I don't think I'm the only one who was not aware of this judgment. It's if it could be much publicized, I think a lot of people could get an understanding of what really was transpiring.
Yeah, most people don't know and did not know. So some people were told the company was purchased with government funds, and therefore taking it back was okay. And most people didn't know that the government had used a nominee company by Mr. Kwarazimba, because if SMM was insolvent, then why would you pay money for an insolvent company in the UK?
No way. I don't see any rationale.
So a company that is negative value will remain negative value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the deception being done in the name of government.
Yeah, that's what government is always made us to believe, that the company was taken because it was owing the state something, or the company was bought using state funds, which were not then paid.
That's right.
Like
so if you fail to pay, then the Companies Act would provide for failure, and a creditor would have to pursue his rights in the ordinary course of business.
Oh, yeah.
So why would you need a law, special law, to protect a bona fide creditor?
By the way, talking of the Recon Act, was it passed specifically for SMO?
No, when the company was taken over, there was no law. When they even approached the TNN, there was no law. They had to pass the law after already taking over the company. So there was no law. So it was done retrospectively.
Okay, it went on to affect the likes of Wange.
No, yeah, that Wange was only done after the law was passed, but it started as a decree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that part. Then I found something interesting. Let me quote from the High Court judgment. I found something interesting where the judge echoed something. He said it's pointed to things may well have changed, but if I'm correct, and T and N still hold the shares, and even if they are prepared to confirm forgiveness of the debt, they will presumably only release the shares to the legal owner. You have to be able to prove that the government of Zimbabwe does in fact have legal title. So going by this, it means up to now the share certificates haven't been transferred to
You can't
another, but still,
you can't transfer. So they then forged the papers in Zimbabwe and
okay,
gave the shares to a Reserve Bank company after
okay,
failing in the UK and as part of what they call the scheme of reconstruction. So when they did that, they were sure that they were going to win the case in the UK.
or
So
they fought before they went to they took the case to the UK.
no, they not taken it, but they were confident that the court
Okay,
will rule in their favor.
okay,
So they'd already done that without, so they had given 26% to SMMH, then 24% to SMMH, and 26% to Nickdale. So, so that's what is in the company's register. But the 24% was registered in a company in Zimbabwe that they called SMM UK.
okay,
Yeah, without the knowledge and consent of the UK company. So effectively, the UK company is supposedly the owner of 24%, but that's
never
what.
consented to.
Yeah, so that was all fraud committed by Warazimba.
Yeah, now I'm understanding why it is so difficult to quote an investor for Shabani in Mashaba mine.
No, just to say I want to know the truth. That's why Chitando Ziambi would not want to answer that question. Who owns SMM Zimbabwe and how was it done and who consented to it? They can't answer that.
That was a criminal act. That was criminality.
But what if
That was
the
criminality.
criminals who did that are the people in government?
That's very worrisome. That's very worrisome, you know. And whoever was behind such scheming thought that he was a legal genius.
No, they know that they control the courts. They know they
Yes.
control the system, so they can do whatever they want.
But now the audacity of even taking the case to the UK courts.
No, they thought I was finished already because they've taken all my assets. So they didn't anticipate that I was going to be fighting them in the UK. So they were going to go there and change the certificates without me objecting. So when they started as a club of people who were confident that once we have taken all the Zimbabwean companies, it means he is finished.
Okay.
And therefore we can do whatever we want. So that's what they told the administrator of TNN. We control the government. And they even went with Chiremba from Reserve Bank. And,
yes.
And the Reserve Bank paid the money.
Yes.
And so this was Gono working with these guys to say, now if we have taken over the ownership of SMMH, then in Zimbabwe he has no claim at all. All they would say to the people is that he failed to pay his obligations and therefore he lost control of SMMH. And we have bought the claims and now we are the legal owners. So that was the plan. So they didn't count on those judgments.
And now we've got other companies like Wange Collier, which they try to do the same again.
No, they didn't try. They actually did it. Wange is right now under the control of an administrator appointed by the Minister of Justice, not by the court. And they went to court to confirm that order that the minister issued. And that's where they were blocked.
It has been under administration for how long?
It's now about 2 years.
And Sabi Gold Mine is also under administration.
Under reconstruction?
Yes.
Oh, so that's another one. So you can't say the new dispensation does not know what is legal and what is not legal.
Yeah, they know what is legal and what is not legal, but it's just.
But they don't care. They're not accountable. So that's how they work.
Yeah, they're not accountable.
Yeah,
they're not accountable.
And sometimes our journalists make them unaccountable because they are not pursuing this. So even those who say they are against corruption, they will not be able, they don't want to touch any case that is direct evidence. Because all you needed to ask is what is the status, what happened. Then that judgment will tell you who is AMG, how do they get the money. Then all those facts are part of the debt that has been assumed by the people of Zimbabwe. That money, they couldn't get it back from TNN because they had gone on risk that if we fail, you keep the money. If we win, we take the shares.
Oh, so TNN kept the money.
I kept the money.
And the share certificates as well.
Yeah, that's why they were being asked where. So you paid the $2 million. Where are those shares? So they are going to around with the bearer share warrants they got from TNN before they went to court. So they don't have the share certificates because I have the share certificates. So for them to get the share certificates from ARL, they needed to have a court order.
Okay.
Which they failed to procure.
Yeah.
So as it stands now, that's Shindori was the chairman of the portfolio committee. That's why he was asking Chinamasa to produce the share certificates.
Okay.
Before he could produce, he was dead. Before they could produce Shindori. So when Shindori died, then that ended that. So Chinamasa never produced anything up to now. Yeah.
It only takes competent journalism for the citizens to be aware of such facts,
Yeah, that's where the problem is, that journalists, some of them, they tend to take cases where they want to pursue some other agenda, because even on you remember the inclusive government was created, lasted, and nothing was done even on the law itself. So you may find other people in the opposition who love this law because they may want to use it when they get into power.
Yeah, but now with such state of affairs, how do somebody sees himself or herself using it? Looking at.
If they have a SANU-PF person, you just say you owe money to ZESA, you owe money to NASA, and therefore you are unable to pay.
Yeah. When we talk of a higher literacy rate, at times you don't know what we are talking about.
No. I'm saying is that it takes a person like you to say, I want to read. Other people don't even read. They would only want to read what is in the newspaper.
You know, when you get to read cases like this one, Mr. Mawere, that's when you get humbled. Whether you're a lawyer or you're a journalist or you're a politician, you get humbled. You ask yourself, what am I doing? Why am I not reading?
But how many people would rather read what is in their heads?
Or something that is superficial, something that is just superficial.
What is the key? The law allows government to deprive and divest you.
Pardon?
Hello? I'm saying the law allows a minister, not a court, to divest you and deprive you of your rights. So that is no different to what happened to Hopewell and Jacob and Scala. They were divested of their rights.
Yes.
And they were deprived of freedom.
Yes.
But you may find that it is people in government who are telling the courts, keep them there for a month. Because just to punish them. So that law is no different from what is happening now. So a law that deprives and divests, but you will not find Hopewell or Chamisa talking about this law.
They'll be talking about something else.
No, they'll be talking about ZANU-PF must fall. But here you have people who are existing. You have evidence of people lying or forging certificates.
How can they talk? How can they talk about that, Mr. Mawere, when you've got MPs who think that their duty is to go and deliver Mabekse Chibage in the constituency?
No, but they also don't know. Mr. Mawere, has anyone in the opposition ever come out and say what they did to you was wrong? They don't even feel they have done anything wrong because they rely on a person like Tadi Max to say, but don't you know that Mawere bought the car, was given the company for free? That it was Mnangagwa who got the company for him with government guarantee. So everything is shrouded in mystery. Even when they arrest you, they say you wanted to incite violence, but you have not yet incited it. And we are putting your company under reconstruction because they have criminalized you. So they first paint the picture that you are a criminal, then they go and cure that by arrest.
And they make sure that there's a lot of information supporting and endorsing such claims.
No, they just rely on your ignorance, because right now you know something. But what are you going to do about what you don't know, what you know? So you may be able to say, no, I want to do something. So they distract, disarm, and dismantle and destroy, like ANC is coming. They would not want a case like this to be part of the agenda. Their issue is talking about sanctions.
Yeah.
So they divert your attention to talk about sanctions. That's where they need affinity, they need camaraderie, fraternal relationship, and say we're under siege. But then you ask them, does this law exist? What does it do? It has the effect of doing exactly what they say they don't want to do on farmers. They are saying we can't divest someone protected by BIPA, and we can't deprive him. Now we've come to our senses, but the people who did that are not accountable. They will call themselves a new regime, a new dispensation. But while this was happening, they were part of the same dispensation.
Yeah, and they were so active in perpetrating some of those things.
Yeah, but they will not want you to know that, to say there's a connection. Why give farmers compensation if you know you did the right thing? If you promise to pay for improvements, would you keep the asset for 20 years without paying? Why would you take possession without paying when your own constitution says you can't take possession until you pay for improvements? But you take possession and you don't pay. So what's the difference with reconstruction? Yeah.
There's no difference.
You say, I like this woman, you take her, you rape her. Then you go to the court and say it was not rape. She loves me. And the woman is not even allowed to go to court. Yeah, so it will be the minister going to court. It was consensual sex.
Yeah, the people do not have a say. The actual people that were affected and that are being affected do not have a say.
Yeah, you don't have, by law, you don't have. The role of the court is to confirm what the same person, the rapist, has said. So the raped woman does not have access, no audience. So Tadi Mark says, so all those powerful people you talk to, not even one is said, come on, guys. How do you say, come on, guys, when you're after you see Hopewell and Jacob?
You just keep quiet and mind your own business.
Yeah, you just keep quiet and mind your own business. They'll tell you, Hopewell finished with him. And the farmers were dealt with them. If all these white farmers could agree to extortion, my friend, the only deal in town is we borrow money to pay you. Otherwise, you have lost. It's irreversible. So the same people are saying it's irreversible, but they are reversing because they want sanctions to be removed. So it's a bribe for sanctions removal.
Yeah, it's a bribe. It's a bribe. I don't know if they are going to win on that one.
No, that's how they've won before. They give you a dummy, then you pursue the dummy. No one is raising rule of law that when you take a car from the showroom, what is that? Is it a loan? And what interest? Then they say black farmers, you can will sort you out, but there's no provision anyway for black farmers to be paid.
Yes, that's the thing.
Yeah.
When they're talking of compensating the white farmers for improvement, they are quoting the constitution. There are constitutional provisions to that effect.
Yeah.
But now talking of black farmers, there's no provision whatsoever in the constitution.
Yeah. They won't give, there's nothing. You are naked. And they say you must apply. If Mawere wants SMM, apply. But we've amputated you. But they are saying walk. They are saying jump.
Taking advantage of the current happenings with the farms, I think you should make such an attempt.
No, then you are missing the point. It's not me. It's already done. It's for you now to say, I've learned now. So let me ask my MP to say what I've read about SMM. Do you know anything about it? That's what you call citizenship. You can't go to Jesus to say you take advantage. Now the people who crucified you, What are you going to do about it? Huh?
Nothing.
No, but it's up to you now to say, okay, now I understand there is a problem of our so-called journalists who are award-winning. They win awards on the basis of cases that are weak, where somebody says, you got $60 million contract. Then you ask them, how much did exchange hands? Then you ask Jonathan Moyo. He says a company Sotic paid 1.2 billion to the government when that transaction never happened. Then you say Chasi was fired because of that transaction, just to create hype. Then when you are asked, even the South African delegation is asked, give me a single case of corruption where we have done nothing. And they say drugs, then they say, but people were arrested, minister lost a job. So what is your case?
Yeah.
So already you have nothing. And you say you want to remove government because of corruption. And they say, okay, tell us in specific terms which corrupt cases. They talk about farm mechanization. The guys will respond and say, but we gave equipment to black farmers as a matter of policy because whites will not have given them. So those are the people who have succeeded. Temba Mlizu will tell you. Temba Mlizu will tell you that I benefited from farm mechanization. On that, they agree with Jonathan. Jonathan also says I benefited. Charges benefited. So Gono are selecting all the key people to get free equipment.
Yeah. And that's how he bribed them.
So that was a bribe, and then you are calling it corrupt. And you write a big Sunday read or big Saturday read. They say, let's read it. So tell us what happened. Then you are saying ZANU-PF got equipment. Say, but what's wrong?
Yeah, they'll say what's wrong with that, and they go on to tell you some of the opposition figures who got the same equipment.
The same equipment. They say, my friend, yeah. So whatever it is, you say, hashtag ZANU-PF must go because of corruption. And the president is saying, no, I am the chief gatekeeper of corrupt people. They are ministers and we will not take anything. So on SMM, they have nothing. Where the data is there.
Yeah, like it's clear.
Like it's clear, but they don't want to talk about that. So you can approach some people who call themselves doctors and some people who call even Zim Life and say, Zim Life, I got this case. I want it to be a feature on SABC. They are talking about the National Transitional Authority. They are talking about dialogue. I mean, how do you dialogue as a black farmer? You go to these guys and say, what is the dialogue? They tell you, yeah.
Or they will tell you to apply to offices and you apply and
then they say we regret to advise you have failed. And we are still looking for an appropriate land to give you. Yeah, so where do you go? And you don't have Western countries who are imposing sanctions. So on the black side, you are on your own nigger. You lost the farm. And it's not practical for us to give it back to you. But Jenda Kumzarabani, we got a similar land in Gogwe. What are you going to do? And
we are still a long way to go. I'm beginning to see I have got a duty as a citizen.
You have a duty just to share. That's why I said towards media excellence. If we say towards me, you are the media excellence, because what we've discussed here, You can take the link and share it widely to say that you may not have heard this, but it touches on land reform, it touches on the property rights. Because what you are being told is that a black man does not have a right to property. That what we did to Mawere is okay because we created the conditions for you to own land. So we don't have to sign a global compensation deed with blacks.
Yeah.
Because
It's only for
it's only for those we know that they have pressure.
they are capable of imposing sanctions.
That's right.
But
And now even the American ambassador. We lost farms as well, but where do you get them? So, and the farms were productive, but they don't want to talk about that. So unless you talk about it, you say, I want to understand, I'm not fighting you. I told you, you saw how Chitando quickly ran away.
Yeah, even Ziampi.
Ziampi, and these are your ministers. How many people know that they have no even courtesy to talk to you?
It's sad, you know.
Because they know their boss is not accountable to blacks. If you raise, then they say you're an agent of imperialism.
Yeah, a Western puppet.
You are a Western puppet, which they can't say to me. Otherwise, they would have thrown that what they're saying is Mawere borrowed money with the government. So if you borrowed money with the government, under what law does a government become a superior creditor? When we are all equal before the law.
The pari passu principle, when we talk of creditors, all creditors are equal.
No, a creditor and a debtor are equal. Because we have to approach the court as equals. I can't go to court while you have already taken my house.
That's true.
Yeah, that's the animal farm.
Yeah.
So I can't engage in self-help. That is inimical to the rule of law. So what law would give a creditor the right to call me a state indebted company? That indebtedness must be determined by an independent and impartial tribunal.
That's true.
Yeah.
Not by a party, by an interested party like that.
That's right. So that's a principal matter. That how do I go in chains to court? Huh? Yeah. How do I go to a court of law in chains for a crime that has not been determined? Just because you believe I'm inciting violence, then I am guilty as charged. So I come to court as a convict. Yeah?
You are already guilty before you are tried.
Before you are tried, I spent 1 month. Yeah. And then you ask, where is my freedom? But the government has already taken it. Who is government now? Why would a servant of the people be so afraid of the people that gave him power?
Yeah, especially when you claim that it's those people who gave you the power.
Yeah, then you are afraid. Then if you are a creditor, why would you need a law? When you have rights anyway in form of agreements. You have contracts. You must have contracts. You can't just give public funds as if it's manna. Yeah?
Yeah.
So why would a creditor deserve superior powers? Because then you no longer have a three-legged pot. You now have 2 legs. Can it stand? Can the justice system stand without the checks and balances? because you are the one who issues the order. You are the one who benefits from the order.
Talking of checks and balances, Zimbabwe is still a long way to go as long as we've got this government in power.
No, it's not the government that is. It's you. The government is you, because when they were in a corner on drugs, they had to remove a minister because the pressure was on.
Yeah, that's true.
So what does that confirm? It confirms that people have the power, but once you go on cases where you are wobbly, you don't have facts, you are already helping them.
Yeah, it's abetting them in a way, and they enjoy that.
Imagine President Ramaphosa and President Mnangagwa are speaking to each other. These guys are kindergarten. They are infants. They come to us, and we are the guarantors of freedom, of liberty. But it's not liberty for a journalist to go and cause disorder, madisnyongoro, on the basis of information that is not even correct. And they say they are fighting corruption on the basis of information that is not correct. You find Guaya being acquitted. You find Dr. Badayamo being acquitted. Yeah, because they say, where is the evidence?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like what Mugabe used to say, you say my ministers are corrupt, but where is the evidence? Bring the evidence.
That's right. And who is going to bring that when the government already are the same people?
Nobody.
Nobody. So if citizens know, then what you know now, it means tomorrow you can push it that I didn't know that the treatment, the culture, the attitude towards the rule of law is so primitive, so pedestrian, that unless we improve that, what is property? What is land? Yeah. According to people, some people, they think land is property.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't even understand why you are compensating for improvements. But can you go into an egg, you scramble it, then you unscramble it. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that.
So how do you unscramble a dam in a farm?
Impossible.
Yeah. How do you say I'm only following the pipes? But where are the pipes? They are already laid. What about the labor in the laying of the pipes, in the building of the dam?
Yeah. That's why there's that difference between fixtures and fitting.
No, but land itself has no value. But the fixtures, that's what you bring personality. Lithium on its own, if you go to a donkey and say, I got lithium, I have vanadium, they say, what do you need it for? I need it for electricity. Have you ever seen electricity in the animal farm? Yeah.
No.
So,
yeah, no.
So to a donkey, what is called? Yeah.
It's nothing. It's really nothing.
But it's only human beings who can convert a mango into juice.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Can store it. So property is that value add, is the personality of men in the creatures of God. So everything you need to life is created by somebody else.
Yeah.
But when you add your ingenuity, your creativity, your innovation, then you produce property.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
But to a subsistence farmer, what is a tractor? He doesn't need a tractor.
Yeah.
So there's no value.
Doesn't need the pipes. Some of them even occupy those farms and started using ox-drawn plow.
That's right. My pipe haripo, my dam haripo. When if yeah, when if it was somebody who knew what he was doing, you would have paid for this compensation. Why would you borrow when you have been keeping those assets for the last 10, 20 years? Yeah?
There's no point.
There's no point. But who is talking about that? To say property requires human being, whether you are black or white, you must be compensated. If I take your phone, it's property.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So you have to compensate me, but you can't keep my phone and then to promise me that I'm going to borrow to pay you back when you are enjoying the asset. Then you are saying there's no reversal. The moment you discover that you have shortchanged me, you have taken away my sweat, my spirit in that farm, you must pay me at the gate so that I go away.
Unfortunately, that is not being done, and it has become a culture. People are losing properties every day, especially talking of mines.
But that's what the SMM example is. That they don't even feel that there's anything wrong.
Yeah, to them everything is okay.
Yeah, even the farms, there's no. Somebody says after 20 years, I'm going to give you a promise that if you are indigenous, we're going to protect you. There's no reversal. But why do something when you are not ready, when the government is created to protect and promote those with the property?
Yeah, why do something prematurely like that?
Yeah, and nobody apologizes.
They are always right.
No, but who is cheerleading them? It is us who says there's no reversal. Why do you need to compensate these people? Imagine good or chairo to compensate. Unene property. Do you need a gate for good or for elephant?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sekuru angu minda. Therefore, you didn't pay for it, you are a thief. And you get to look at the person. When were you born? Were you there? No. But the land is still in Zimbabwe. How do you steal land?
Yeah. You can't even use the same land, a small piece of land that you have.
Yeah, some have 100 hectares, but they only use one.
Yeah, they only use 1 hectare.
Yeah. And then you say, let's borrow money so that the 1 hectare will pay for that, for the farm of 100 hectares.
It's really pathetic. And when talking of such people who are underutilizing that land, it's not only low profile people.
Yeah.
Big people, big names, people in government, you find that the land is lying idle.
But I'm saying is how many of us are talking about that? So when you talk about SMM, to say I'm looking for Dr. Magaisa, I have this case. I live in Shawan, and I want your big Saturday read to talk to me about this judgment, because I am not a lawyer.
Yeah, I really need to take this far.
Yeah. Then I talk to Temba Muliswa. Have you ever seen this judgment? Yes. Are you an MP? Yes. He will tell you rather run away from you.
Yeah, that's the first thing that I'm going to do after this conversation. I want to send this judgment to Temba Muliswa and ask if he's come across the.
And you give him a timeline to say, if you don't respond, I'm going to expose you. That you are a hypocrite. Yeah. Then you start taking ownership. Because there are people in parliament who think they are employed to be a little mayor of Monoton.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of dealing with these matters, they would rather be harassing mayors, councillors, and become a little bulldog for the Chinese who have factories there.
And and some people will be cheering and say he's the best.
He's the best MP. Oh, he speaks truth to power when he knows who to speak against.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do we need people like that? You ask Honorable BT, you are a lawyer. Washman, you are a lawyer. Chamisa, you are a lawyer. Mahere, you are a lawyer. I'm a citizen. I'm in Shawani. I didn't know about this judgment. Now I know about it. Monzora. Komich. Yeah. You are the guys who pretend to be constitutionalists. Yeah. Only to the extent of taking power. And now they already have moving with bodyguards and taking public funds. And
being assisted by soldiers.
Yeah, and then you say, look, these are the constitutionalists. So the rest you can just take it, and you are in a group. You say, oh, guys, here I am. I'm now converting myself into a journalist. I want to have one issue at a time. So if you take one issue, what you've learned now, I didn't know that Mawere didn't. Why were you harassing Mawere and say he's a shareholder? When the papers, you even went to the UK to look for shares. Yeah?
Yeah.
But in Zimbabwe, you are saying Mawere is liable. He's the shareholder. What is his connection with SMM? Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah?
This information, I was not aware of this. I don't know if most people were not aware or they just cast a blind eye because they don't want to. They've got an interest to say that, like Minister Chitando and
No, you don't. You got a number. You can say, Minister, I want what? If you need the number, I'll give you the number. Say, Minister, my name is so and so.
Yeah. Especially for those two.
Yeah, there's no problem. You get the number and then you just send them a WhatsApp message. Because I live in Shawani and I am surrounded by people who are pervasively ignorant. They don't know. They only know what is written in the newspapers. And the newspapers are not going to touch this. So, Minister, I want you to tell me what is the relation between ZMDC and SMM? Right now, you're disposing of houses.
Yeah, and selling lands.
And selling lands, but I don't know who owns. And this is happening under my watch. I don't know who is who. There are many workers who approach me. They don't even know about the reconstruction.
Yeah. So what's the position?
What's the position? You see, how do I trust my own government when you can't answer me? Then you'll be saying, yes, I tried the Chitando, I tried, you can phone them, record them. That's why I resort to recording them. Because people would deny you, would say, I don't know Shereni. Who is Shereni now? I never spoke to that man.
Yeah, I've never talked to anyone by that name.
Yeah, so you can record them and say, Minister, you're a public figure. You are subject to public scrutiny. So I need to know and my president is telling me that we are here for constitutionalism. Ziambi was talking about what? How can we be accused of being biased when we are the guarantors of constitutionalism?
Yeah.
But meanwhile, he doesn't answer you. He's not accountable. So how do you become a minister, a member of parliament? And the people you represent, you don't talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was eye-opening. I'm taking it to another level.
And that's how because all these famous lawyers, If you go to Matuku, you'll be thinking Pollard stipend. How much am I going to get in the next meeting with Pollard?
They won't say anything about.
But if you call him and say, Brother Maduku, I got this judgment, I want you to read it. And if you don't read it, I will expose you. If you read it, I will expose you.
Yeah.
So Tadi says, I'm just shocked. They let a whole town die, then blame you. This is Muchuru was also shocked that they accused you of corruption. The chief 40 was accused of surrounding the president. But Tadi Max, just wake up. You'll be shocked by many things that have happened. These guys have got away with murder. And then you say you are shocked.
With murder.
Yeah, they know that Tadi Max, after he listens here, he just keeps quiet.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
That's surprising. After this chat, if you can send me the numbers for.
I'll send you Matuku Kutu and see what you get and see who will respond to you quickest. You send to Temba. You send to
Gutu is in that group, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's only his mind, his sharpest tongue is directed at somewhere else. So when he reads anything that doesn't support his tongue, he will rather run away.
Yeah.
He will tell you to go to court.
Yeah, that's what he does. Monzora is in the same group again, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm saying is that's what they'll say. Wait until I become president.
Then I'm going to address.
I'm going to address you. So let.
I know how to win such people like Monzora. You approach them as if I approach them as if I want to be part of what they subscribe to.
Oh, just say you are a member of MDC, and MDCT, and you are my leader. And Professor Maduko, I'm a member of NCA. Yeah. And then Temba, I'm Yad, and Ziambi, I'm a member of National and West. I'm a member of ZANU PF. Yeah.
Yeah, once I start them that way.
Yeah, that way they'll say, come, let me tell you. Come to Harare, I'll give you the full story. Say, yeah, I want the full story because these MDC are giving us trouble. They are Western agents. They are trying to disturb us, and this Mawere is an idiot. He continues to talk as if he owns the mines. And I want to be able to expose him.
Yeah. That way I get the information.
Quickly.
One thing about those guys, if you approach them candidly and you really want to know something objectively, they will be hostile.
Oh, that's how the country is. They are hostile to the truth. So anything to do with the truth, they will soon label you an agent of imperialism.
So the best one can do is to pretend to be with them.
Yeah.
Extract information.
Yeah, and say, I just wanted, we have a lot of people who want to join the party.
Yeah.
So let me send you those numbers so that you can work on them, and that's how you become, all these famous lawyers, they are talking about corruption, and they will be embarrassed by Charamba. Charamba can write. And
Charamba can write. He's unlike Nick
he's, he can right now he's already framed a text for the South African delegation of ANC. When they arrive there, they will discover how stupid they are.
That's Charamba for you.
Yeah. So right now he's already writing a thesis on what corruption is and what what sanctions are.
They'll just go back with a different perspective altogether.
They'll go back convinced that they're under siege. They are saboteurs and cockroaches who are trying to disturb the business model of liberation movements. If we don't stick together, the white people are coming back.
And, and you give them you give them some high sounding nothing.
Nothing. Say you've seen American embassy on ENCA, on SABC. For the first time, the American ambassador of Zimbabwe is getting airtime in South Africa. He's talking about SADC putting pressure on us. Is he an ambassador to SADC? Yeah? And they don't know.
You are now subjects of the American ambassador.
Yeah, they want regime change. And they think we were born yesterday.
Charamba.
Yeah. Yeah, so he knows. That's why my Mugabe ati kweenda wangonyora unonyora utambo uyo kumba uchiti moresa. Vangu vatoziva kuti body language chimunhu chatova mukudita chatova chiauthor cheku. Kuti baba munhu uyu takabva naye kure but handisi kunyatsokumuona zvaari kuita.
Charamba, he blocked me long time back. He used to engage with me a lot, exchange from Norway.
No, once you say something, but you say, on South Africa, I like your stance. We are under the American ambassador. Where did you get him from? Then you hear Charamba on board. Yeah, so let me send you, then you can start work on your side.
Okay, Mr. Mawere, thanks very much. I'll be giving you feedback.
Okay, thanks.